Agencies Drinking Beer is brought to you by Proposify, software that helps you deliver beautiful proposals in the cloud and close more deals.
Welcome to the 58th episode of Agencies Drinking Beer. On today's show, we're talking to Ricky Ferris, the product manager here at Proposify. And we're going to be talking about the transition from working at an agency to working at a software startup. This is Kyle Racky.
And this is Kevin Springer
of Agencies Drinking Beer. And we have a special guest on the show today. His name is Ricky Ferris. Now, Ricky worked with us at Headspace. We've known Ricky for well over, I'd say, 10 years. And now Ricky has been at Proposify for well over a year as our product manager. Welcome to the show, Ricky.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. Thank you for getting away from your desk for a little bit to join us on this show.
Yeah, it can be hard to do.
So let's step back in time. You and I met, I think, at somebody's, on somebody's deck.
Yeah,
playing guitar.
Yeah, it was. It was like Lois's deck.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and where was it? Shearwater.
Nobody knows where that is. So, and we headed off, and you were working at an agency.
Yep.
As a designer, developer. Mm-hmm. And I think we just were friends for a bit and stayed in touch. And eventually, when Kevin and I started Headspace, we were like, we really need a really good, very versatile designer, developer, somebody to kind of fill a bunch of different shoes. And you were the first name that came to mind, and you said yes, and you were our first employee at Headspace.
Yeah, it was, and we didn't even have an office at the time.
No.
And I just had a newborn son, and had a little crates gathered around my desk so I could just get some work.
You had crates?
Yeah, crates. Like we just moved into a new place. We had all our boxes.
Crate made into a desk.
Yeah. Well, it's actually like a barrier. Yeah, because
to keep the kid.
Yeah, because you kept wanting to be on in my arms and stuff, but I had to get some work done, so I just made this little barrier. I actually have pictures of him just like standing up, like holding onto it, watching me work.
Wow.
Nice.
Humble beginnings.
Yeah, it's very humble.
And now it's just all glory.
It's all glory.
All glory.
Glitz and glamour.
So yeah, I mean, so what was it like working for us at Headspace?
I mean, it was at the beginning. It was just the three of us, so it was a really small team where we get like really niche projects come in, and it was just fun designing them and pushing them out because it was very creative focused and not so much technically focused. And at the time, that's where we thrived.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then as the company grew, it was still fun, but then we got more technical and became more of a full out company.
Software. We were building software a lot of times too.
Yeah, and that was very challenging. It was became a point where it was less creative and just more of like technical mountains to climb, which I'm very happy I had the opportunity to do because it definitely gave me a stronger toolkit and a lot more experience to handle new problems with. But
Yeah. In a way, we probably made less money doing software projects because even if the budget was bigger, we always seemed to lose money somehow on them. Scope creep and what, or just they weren't scoped out properly or whatever. You know, I mean, software is very difficult.
It's a finicky thing. Well, I mean, our approach at the time, and you've had written posts about it since that. Don't budget the whole thing at once. Don't spec out the whole thing, like not in full detail. Like it's best just to get an idea of what the overall goals are, and then do phase one and cost out phase one and do that one because all the resulting changes that change in phase one, it's going to affect the cost down the line. So it's best just to do it one phase at a time.
Yeah, that's the way. That's the way I would do it. I'm curious what the listeners do if they write software or if they're software companies. Like how do you really scope out a project, or how do you not lose money building software for people?
I would love to learn about that and hear what our listeners have to say about that.
Yeah. I think the Agile approach just makes sense.
Yeah.
Budget for a sprint. Don't budget for the whole thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what our views are now.
But then how do you sell that to a client? Because clients think in terms of, I want this done. I just want this app built. And if you're like, okay, well, we'll budget for a sprint and we can get this done in a sprint, it's a hard sell.
Well, it becomes harder to sell because most times you're doing this for companies that only have X amount cut off for it, and it's a one-time amount of money, which leads to another issue. It's like if you're investing in an app or some software to be built, it's not a one-time cost. It's like you're investing in a new employee at your company, and you need to have the money available for it over time because it's going to grow and need work.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of clients don't understand the technology and what it takes to build a piece of software. And remember that one government Crown Corp we had where they had it was a guy from New Brunswick. They had him in as a consultant, and it made the biggest difference in the project because he understood when they scoped it, and he was kind of our go-to guy within that organization.
Yeah.
What was the name of that? Was it Sean from New Brunswick?
Oh yeah, Sean Carver.
Sean
yeah.
Carver, that's right.
Right.
That helps. I mean, if any clients are listening, which I doubt, but I mean, that's
Any of our clients, our
No.
former clients?
well, no, just clients of our clients.
Oh, I see.
That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I mean. But get a consultant to come in. Really, I mean, as you're putting the RFP out or talking to vendors,
Yeah.
I think that's a key thing.
I think we talked about that in when we talked about RFPs.
Yeah.
Should you go after, or government RFPs more specifically, is they should hire an internal
Big time.
consultant.
Yeah.
But one thing that I've always loved about you, Ricky, I mean, I can't run out of great things to say about Ricky. If we could just like put you in some sort of machine and spit out more Rickies, I would build that machine or buy it, because we need. Here's why you're such a great asset to any. This is why we hire you for every company that we start. You weren't at Headspace. You weren't just a designer and a developer, right? Like you treated it like it was your own company, and you also jumped into any role that we needed you for, whether that was sales, if we needed to, work on a proposal or go in and do a pitch, or have you just lead a project, you very good with people.
Well, thank you very much. That's quite glowing. I've just always believed that work for the job you want and picture the company as you want to see it. And then by doing that, you'll make the right decisions to advance both your progress and the company's progress in the right direction. Just don't work for what it is right now. Work for what it's going to be.
It's good. I like that.
Interesting way to think about
So,
it.
I mean, and there's never any job that I'm unwilling to do, if it's going to help out either our clients or our teammates.
There's a tear right now.
A single
It's hitting the microphone.
rainbow
This is good
tear.
for our listeners too. There a lot of them are agency owners, and how can they find a Ricky, right?
There's only one, Ricky. Ricky's going to get flooded with LinkedIn emails. Would you like to move to Connecticut to work in our agency?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the way you create a Ricky, and I also feel the same that you're in the same boat because you always did so many different things. You weren't just the owner, but you get down there and do the other jobs as well. Is levity, is to give your employees the room to grow, and give them the license to grow. And if they make a mistake, don't just shut them down. It's a learning lesson. This is what you should have done, or this is what we've learned from it. And give them the levity again. And if they keep screwing up, then, there's obviously a point where you cut them off. But they're never going to grow unless you give them sunlight. So,
Interesting.
Yeah, you did a nice job on that pitch. That was something outside of your scope. When we went to Toronto and you did that demo.
Oh, yeah, in Hamilton there.
Yeah, with FreshBooks. Did a great job.
I wonder if I up-talked at that one. I wish I had a video.
You do up talk a little bit.
Sometimes if I'm completely unprepared and I'm not relaxed, then I start talking up.
Everything becomes a question.
Yeah, because I'm not even
And here's
sure.
what we're going to do.
Yeah.
It's all right. I mean, we all got a thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your transition to a product company. So you were a designer / developer at Headspace, and in fact, you didn't come straight with us. We sold the agency and kind of went full time into Proposify and raised some money for it. And you spent a year at the old agency, and then eventually we stole you away from that, and you decided to come work for us at Proposify, and I mean, it was a very smooth transition, but we knew it would be. But what was that like?
Well, I mean, there's a few things you hit there. Like when you guys sold Headspace, it was basically like I had a new job. Like I had the same coworkers, but I had different owners who had different visions and directions for the company. But it allowed me to stand on my own 2 feet and be kind of like more of a director, because I was one of the top voices at the company, and gave me that chance to grow in that capacity. Because the ceiling's only so high when you don't have so many people. But it changed, right? And they were looking for someone for advice, and they were listening to me. But then after a year of that, I'd been in the agency world for so long, it was time for a change. And then I got the offer from you guys, and I came over here, and it was an awesome transition. It was a slow one for me. I'm still learning how to do this properly. Start off in support, learn out what your customers are saying and how they're using it, and then start designing some pages, and then find the brand, and then it becomes you start walking with it.
Yeah.
And then over time you start running with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't even really have a clear title for you when you started. I
was product designer.
Yeah, I can't remember what it said in your offer, but yeah, see, it was funny because the developers thought, well, Jonathan, our CTO, he often questions when we need to hire somebody. He's like, why do we need somebody? We're fine with the people we got. And then as soon as we hire them, he's like, I don't know how I can do without this person now. But he, thought, well, we should be fine. Like, what's Ricky really going to do? And we're like, okay, well, we need new features designed. We need QA done. We need somebody to kind of manage the release schedule. And then, ever since, if you're gone away for a few days, the developers are just like, what do we do? Where's Ricky?
Yeah. Yeah, filling in the holes is kind of what my job was for a while before I was able to start seeing the future. But yeah.
You can see the future?
Oh, I can.
Jeez,
yeah.
Wow.
It's an incredible gift. I take it with great responsibility.
So I would think the challenge for you is now you've got to look at the really, the details on a short-term basis. Like, what are we doing today? What's happening tomorrow? What's next week? As well as look at longer-term stuff months down the road.
That's absolutely where I'm at, and that's the problem I'm almost stumbling on a little bit, is getting lost in the details. I have to pay attention to them on a day-to-day basis and make sure that what we're working on right now is in the right direction and it's for a good reason, that it's meeting all the ticks that it needs to, that helps a lot of people, that has an impact. And the other one is pulling my head completely out of development and just thinking about what can make this product better, looking at metrics of what people are using, and having phone calls with our clients to figure out what new feature for our target would have the biggest impact for them and for us. And it's just it's two totally different ways of thinking.
Yeah,
they have to do in one day.
Yeah,
I almost need to set an alarm at 12 just to change clothes, and go from drinking just coffee to espresso or something. The two personas of Ricky.
Nice.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of, that's kind of what you are anyway. You have two personalities. There's fun, jovial Ricky, and there's edgy Ricky.
Yeah, serious.
Serious Ricky.
Yeah. Everything matters.
Then there's Ricky on stage.
Yes. What's Ricky on stage? I've never seen. Oh, actually, I have seen Ricky on stage.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another example of how fearless you are when it comes to just whatever whatever people need, you'll jump in and fill that role. When we were at Volta, which is a startup community, or a startup, whatever you call it, incubator, or shared office space with other startups, they had a pitch day, I think. I can't remember what they call it, but it was basically companies going up and pitching their startups.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah. And they had asked me to do it, kind of in a way just to they need somebody, right? They needed almost an icebreaker, right? And we got up there, and I wanted the free pizza because they have pizza up there.
Good pizza.
Yeah. And you guys came up, and then I think I just said, I don't feel like doing it. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, you're like, you do it, Ricky. And I'm like, man, I haven't even really seen one of these pitch competitions, much less, prepared for it.
Yeah, you had never done an actual like live or in-person pitch of Proposify.
Yeah,
and just last minute I was like, no, you're doing it, Ricky. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and then you're just like, give me the pointers, like talk about the history, the pain point, how the solution is, and the future. And I forgot about the actual the revenue part of it, which
Well,
is
that's
the thing I got called out for by the judges.
Oh,
They're like,
yeah.
it was good, I'm a little short because I was like 3 minutes because, again, when I'm unprepared, I talk really fast.
But you did it. That's the important thing. You
I
did
got
it.
up and did it, yeah. That was fun.
Yeah. You like,
It's
doing that
shaking.
stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I love doing that. I love doing anything that gets my adrenaline spiking, so.
And then when you guys went to Toronto to meet with the FreshBooks people, and again you did a live pitch, right? How long was that?
Oh, that pitch was, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a demo of the product, but instead of doing a live demo, because I don't believe in live demos, screenshots, because you don't have the live demo failures, which I've seen so many times and been a part of.
Yeah, I would think at this point our product's tight enough that you could do a
No,
live
it's not
demo.
the product.
It's
Worry
not the
about
product.
the internet.
Yeah, like
Oh,
the internet can
internet,
crap
yeah.
out on you, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden you're left there with nothing. But if you have just a prepared pitch deck with
True.
just screenshots,
True.
like other than the power going out, you're going to be able to do your presentation as planned.
Once we have offline mode, we'll be all set with that.
Yeah, then we can do live.
We
demos
still
all
need
the time.
internet to load it up first, right?
I do it before at the hotel.
But I jumped on board with that. That was an awesome experience to go out there and meet and see FreshBooks, which is pretty amazing office. Just
Yeah.
like in the shows. Yeah.
Somebody wrote in yesterday a new sign up, and they said you should thank FreshBooks because that's how we found out about the product. They've been very supportive.
Yes, they have.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, you almost got me thinking in terms of, agency owners. And I would almost think, to some degree, maybe an agency owner should have a product manager. Like you talked about, your job is to look at the small picture stuff and the big picture and what's working and what should we change and talking to customers and looking at metrics. Agencies kind of need that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Never thought of that. And I kind of see it, now you say that, it's kind of like the project manager, but they're just involved in the projects, but also higher level. Like you have to be involved in the details to truly understand like how the company is functioning, but also to have someone lead. Isn't that CEO's like position to see the future?
It is, but I think the owners tend to just either they just fuck off and they're not doing anything. I mean, Carmen from Cool Partners is an example of that, and he would say that. He would say that to me. Like I remember when I reached out to Carmen, we've had them on the show before, and Jeff, his business partner, was gone away to like France or something on vacation, and I asked him for like a quote for a blog post or something. He was like, "Jeff's gone away. I actually have to like stop doing bong hits and like actually work for once." And he's just very open about the fact that he does as little as possible.
Yeah, well, his goal is to work himself out of a job.
Yeah.
And he says that's what every owner should do.
Yeah.
An agency.
And then you've got people like Andy, last name is lost me. But anyway, he's the owner of Verb, which is a company here as well that's a big agency that does a lot of work with travel and tourism clients, doing amazingly well. And he does a lot of sales. Apparently, like I've talked to him and I've talked to people that work with him, and he's just a sales machine. He's gone 1 week out of every month, 2 weeks sometimes out of every month, just traveling to the States and pitching and bringing clients. So anyway, my point being, the owner isn't doing that stuff at an agency. Maybe there should be somebody doing that, like actually working on the business, analyzing the business. Because the agency is selling a product. It's just not actually a product. It's people. It's a service.
I think someone that's kind of more on the front lines, more so, or just behind the front lines.
Yeah, they would have to be involved with development, with
Yeah.
creative, and with sales. Like, you'd have to keep them involved in all the process of the company for them to be fully aware, so they can make the right decisions.
Yeah. Would you go work at an agency again?
Well, I can't say I'm totally invested in Proposify at the moment, so that's as far as I can see.
I wouldn't want to, myself.
you say you would?
I wouldn't
know.
want to.
Me either. I'm done.
I would do it small. I'd just do like a 3-person company again, do that kind of thing. Because if you can get the work, it's easier to manage because it's just 3 of you doing it. Your expectations, like everything, just seems more manageable and it's funner.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there is a way to make. There is a part of me that really likes service work, to some degree, but it always depends on the clients. And as soon as you get a lot of people, you can't be too fussy over who your clients are.
No, the idea is just have yourself in a position where you're able to choose your work and that your reputation's doing enough, that you're getting good offers, so you can pick and choose and take the high profit, high creative jobs.
Yeah.
And stay away from the things that are where the hang-ups and the gotchas get you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's like a dream world, though, I guess, because I'd have to already be set up with all kinds of cash beds and stuff to pick clients, because otherwise you're just like, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. And, geez, we had bad luck at Headspace. It was either bad luck or It
was a combination of things.
I mean, what were some of the most challenging clients
A phase
at
map.
Headspace? Yeah.
Phase map, hands down.
Yeah. That was the most...
Well, for me, technically speaking, I had to basically learn how to build Excel in a browser. And as a front-end developer, that was quite a hurdle.
Yeah.
I wasn't even OPP at the time.
What's that?
I mean, object-oriented programming.
Oh, yeah.
OOP, yeah.
OPP, yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
just procedural. And I did it, but, pushed all the timelines and whatnot. And then...
I don't think it was just you, though.
No, and the client as well was... it was a bit demanding and made the project manager, he wasn't the nicest.
Yeah, I think he made Ashley cry.
He
point.
did.
Yeah,
he did because he was, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
But that project actually marked the pivotal point. That was when it went from being just like a creative website boutique to being something more, right? To being almost like a full digital agency. And that's when things kind of changed a bit.
Yeah.
Because we were taking on software jobs that we really didn't have the staff to support. And we're coding the whole things at once in, a few hours. And all of a sudden, we're building, $250,000 job for $80,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that much.
And then it just starts to wear down, the team and the morale, like everybody involved, right? Because everybody wants to do a good job and slam out work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They want to see the smiles. They want to see the checks come in.
That's true.
And if you're not seeing that, then it does start to wear down. But we had a great team to persevere through it, and we did get over that hurdle.
We were really lucky to have the team that we had. That I mean, you guys, survived the whole sale of the company and whatnot. I think most people aren't there anymore. Most have moved on, but like.
Yeah, but only
that
in
was
the
a
last
tough
bit,
time.
Only in the last few months.
Yeah.
It was insane, the tightness of the crew. Like after you guys were gone, there was a whole bunch of things that went on at the company, but we all really liked working with each other, and we didn't want to lose that. So we put up with an awful amount of bullshit just to have a good working team. But I mean, after a while, that's gonna break you. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really hard when we had to tell everybody that we were selling the company. Because I think we felt like I felt like we let people down. I think we did.
You always got to make the decision you have to make, and we weren't unemployed after that.
Yeah.
We were still getting paid.
I would say a bit the opposite.
Yeah,
I felt good that we kept everybody employed, because it would have got to the point either we sell it or we shut her down.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Yeah.
And we found someone eventually that was able to come in and take over, and we didn't have to lay anybody off.
Well, it was definitely the lesser of two evils, but I guess when I say I let people down is that I think when we started Headspace, we envisioned a different outcome at the end.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be very successful and grow and not have to sell it off, like be able to even transition to Proposify without having to.
When we started that company, there weren't a lot of boutiques. We were one of the few. And I mean, everybody and their grandmother started developing WordPress sites for nothing.
Yeah.
And we had to keep reinventing ourselves and changing and trying to adapt. And it just gets so much more competitive. And you have expenses. And I think the best way to approach it now is just to be scalable. If you want to start a small agency, be able to scale up and scale down when you need to.
Is that good though?
I think so. In this, at least in this environment that we're in.
Yeah, but you could start an agency here without having to have your clients live here.
It's true. If
you specialize.
Yep, if you can do it.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think it's really smart to not take on a huge staff and be able to use contractors, because that's the way a lot of people are going now. They're leaving large agencies. So many boutiques and so many freelancers are springing up left and right, and 2 or 3 person shops.
The problem with contracts, because we actually wanted to do that at Headspace originally, and we only started hiring employees was because contractors were either unreliable or they were too expensive and they ate into our margins too much. If you've got a lot of work, if you've got enough work to support an employee, then that's going to make you a lot more money than contracting it all out, right? So I guess the problem comes in what if you don't sell enough next month or the month after? And
the timelines thing too is like when you're doing contracting work, you're managing the client's timelines, your timelines, and now the contractor's timelines. Yeah. And it's just yet another moving part that it's just hard to nail down. And say he makes a change, they make a change, and you look at it and you're like, okay, that's good, and you patch it to the client. But you had to have the meeting with them to approve it, and now you have to have a meeting with your client to get it approved, and they say no. Now it's got to go back to the contractors to get to line up that date again. Yeah. And do you just feel like the calendar page is just flipping by as we're working on this project?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it'd be one of the downfalls of having contractors.
In a perfect world, you'd have contractors that were responsible, worried about their own personal brand, and did great work. I guess you kind of tend to think that they're going to be that way, and we knew a lot of them weren't.
Yeah.
Well, the good ones are busy.
The good ones are busy, and
they're trying to get their time, and that's why that's my statements to the really good ones that are really busy. I mean, they'll carve off the projected time for the project, but if there's anything change after that, then you're stuck in that loop.
Bottom line is, it's a tough business.
Yeah. It's a tough business, but and I think to some degree, if you like the ones that really make money, the agencies that are killing it, they have to have staff internally to do that because you're selling people's time. People are your product, right? Again, you look at companies that we've talked about on here, Verb, 60, 70 people, owners still like crushing it.
Yep.
Would he be doing that with contractors? No, I don't think so. But they're also not reliant on local clients. Yeah, that's the thing.
That was the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've built up and kept doing what they do well. That's the thing. Like they didn't really have to change too much. Like they seem to be doing what they were doing 5 years ago, and they're still kicking ass at it.
They started before Headspace.
Yeah,
started a long time ago.
Yeah,
and they've just stuck with their niche. They haven't done things that they can't do or too from what I see, everything they've tried to do, they've done well. So they've just made the right decisions, and we're lucky maybe if their luck has anything to do with it.
I still think though, I'll stick to this just because I was in the business. That. If you're going to start a smaller agency, a boutique, or something, having that hybrid where you have some employees and some contractors so you can scale up and down. I think, in my opinion, then you're not laying people off when you don't have the business, and you can kind of adjust to it. Depends, like you said, it depends on your business, how much, what you're pulling in.
Yeah.
I think if you set it up right, though, you're not going to run out of business. It's like you could say that about our company, right? I mean, it's a little bit easier because we've got recurring revenue, but at the same time, if we're doing it right, then the revenue is increasing every month. It's never going down. I don't know. We're working now with some agencies. One being Roleek, which we've had on the show, Victor, when he talked about the FBI showing up at his client's door or something like that. That was a good episode. People should check that out. But they're doing work with us now. They're actually building our mobile app, and you are the one, Ricky, leading that project and dealing with their people at Roleek. What's that like?
Oh, it's been great. Sorry to say, but I'm surprised. Just because.
Why are you surprised?
It's a contractors, right? It can be hard to deal with, and you may not have the same vision. And there's almost a language barrier as well because English is their second language. Yeah. And but they've been absolutely great to work with. They're thinking the way that we think, which is really good.
Awesome.
And funny, in the middle of it, we're working on some new visuals for the company.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we had to change the look of the mobile app that they're already developing.
Right.
And then I just said, listen, this is where we're at, this is what we're doing, and it doesn't make sense to release it looking like the old one because the new visuals will be out. And so we need to match that. They're like, okay, just do them up and send them along.
Wow.
I mean,
It was a minimal change for them, but like they didn't say anything, like they didn't hit the budget at all, which I was really impressed about. Like there was another change that was a budget changer, just discussed it, added it on, and then moved forward with it.
Yeah.
But we've had 4 or 5 different contractors that have worked out great. Breen,
Yeah.
the people who actually scoped out, that local company scoped out the app.
Mindset,
Yeah.
The designer we've used, she's fantastic. So we've had a lot of luck with that. And then what's nice is, then we, for example, you look at Andrew Breen and that group, we're still using them, but we're going to segue over to Patrick. I mean, I think that's the best way to do it is, you start out with a contractor maybe because you don't need a full-time person, but then eventually you do.
Yeah.
And then you kind of segue into that.
Yeah.
It's more responsible, I think. More responsible way
That's
to approach
true.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
Because we don't need an iPhone application. We don't need an iOS developer in house. We just
Not
don't.
yet.
Not yet. Right.
Yeah,
Eventually.
Yeah.
eventually, yeah.
That's a good point. I think that's a really good role of an agency is to fill a gap when you don't need that full time or you just can't hire that in full time or in house, and then eventually transition. Like I know Alex Turnbull from Groove, who built the Groove app. That he started by hiring an app development agency to build Groove, like build the MVP. Get it in people's hands, be able to raise money with that because you can't raise money if you don't have a product. And they were able to do that, and then eventually sort of hire people in house to work on it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We wouldn't be where we were if we didn't start with Mindsea and then move on to Roly. It's definitely had to lean on them, and like the exceptional amount of iPhone experience that they have that like our team just does not have. I mean, we are application developers and designers. Haven't spent much time in iOS land.
yeah,
No, we need to stay focused on our product too and
Yeah.
our core, right?
yeah.
I've definitely learned a lot about iOS working with these two companies.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
build your own custom switches.
What do you mean?
You use the ones that are actually in the app, like just the default settings for
The
forms and
defaults.
stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's just what people are used to. It's what they feel more comfortable with it.
Right.
There's a reason why they're designed so well, right?
That's true.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to iOS.
Nice.
In certain areas, you just go with what they've got. Because I was trying to redesign it, and then they were like, "Well, you can do that." And then they put forth their case, and it was just made absolute sense. Why pay more money and disrupt a user with something different that they're not used to? What benefit are you getting from that? And there wasn't enough of a benefit to
Yeah.
go forward with that. So
That's true.
You're right.
I suppose that's like when people redesign like scroll bars in browsers. It's like just use what the browser gave you.
yeah, there's although aesthetically it may be more pleasing to you, but a user is just so used certain bits of functionality, like they just recognize it, so don't mess with it.
Yeah.
Because you'll introduce frustration,
Yeah.
and that's the last thing you want to do.
Almost like taking away the border on a form field.
Well, no, that's actually a common practice now. I don't know if you've been anywhere in the Android world.
Yeah. I'm giving you
yeah.
shit because that's what you did.
Yeah, I did
We
do that.
argued over form fields in Proposify.
Yeah, we did.
We argue a lot, actually.
There's quite
That's
a bit
good.
of arguing.
It's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like
don't
an
want a
old married couple.
We don't want a bunch of yes men around here.
That's right.
Yep.
Just to clarify, it's like the natural design, material design look, as opposed
Trying
to
to
the
prove me
iPhone
wrong.
design,
Yeah.
or the Mac design.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah,
We'll see.
we will see.
Well, Ricky, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it. You guys are great.
Oh, you're great.
So Ricky also loves the stage with a guitar
That's
around
true.
his neck.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Any gigs coming up?
No, the group I'm jamming with in northern Nova Scotia, we can't get everyone lined up for a date, so Since I'm back in the city, I've already said I'm gonna get something fired up in the first week, and I've been here for 2 months and I haven't yet. But
The lead out on this podcast
play
is
with
going to
you.
have one of your songs, so I want you to send me one of your songs.
I'll send you some Johnny Deck.
All right,
See if
sounds
you
good.
like that.
All right.
All right, guys.
We'll end it.
Thanks, Ricky.
All right, thank
See, Kevin, I tried to end the episode, and then you brought up music, and then I went from there.
Sorry.
you. Cut it all out.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Agencies Drinking Beer. If you enjoyed it, we'd appreciate it if you rate and or review us on the iTunes Store. If you have a story or lesson to share with other agency owners and managers from around the world, hit us up. Just email Kyle or Kevin at proposify.biz. And also, if you write business proposals and you want to make that process a whole lot easier and more streamlined, check out proposify.biz and sign up for a free 30-day trial. Cheers.